Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy. You're going to notice that Nicco and Chad aren't here right now. Nicco's having some technical difficulties. He'll hopefully join us here in just a little bit. In the meantime, my buddy Chief here is going to, you might recognize him as, how do you pronounce that? I'm going to let you take it, man.
Is Agatanahi Uktena.
That's the one. You might recognize him from Twitter. He's been on here before. Yeah, this should be a good conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about magic, a little bit about spirituality, and see where it goes from there. You know how we do it here on Aquarian Anarchy. So, here we go. Our quote for today is from Eliphas Levi, also known as Alphonse Louis Constant. And he said, when we love, we see the infinite in the finite. We find the creator in the creation. And that's a good person to start with. Can you hear us all right, Nicco?
Yes, I'm sorry. I knew I had a podcast today, and I was like, I have time to set up my computer and all that. And I forgot we moved, so all of my stuff is in different boxes. But we're here now. Everything works. Can you hear me? We all good?
I can.
All right, cool. I apologize for that, gentlemen.
All good, man. So Nicco and I had a conversation over the weekend, and we were like, what do we want to talk about? As we do, and we thought we'd talk about magic, and our old friend Chief wanted to join us and have that conversation. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate the invitation. I'm excited for the conversation tonight.
I think it'll be a good one. So Nicco had the pleasure a few months ago of coming basically after our Halloween festivities. So he's seen a little bit of the magic that I'm involved with.
Okay.
But largely, I've got my background is with Hermeticism. I'm more of a Voodoo practitioner nowadays. So what is you guys' experience with magic? What does it feel like? I typically use the traditional Aleister Crowley, art and science causing change to occur within conformity of one's will. But how would you guys, first of all, what kind of background do you have with magic, and familiarize the audience with who you are and that kind of stuff, and tell us what you think magic is and what it's used for.
You want to start, Nicco?
Oh yeah, I'll go first because I don't have a long-winded conversation, or I won't have a long-winded saying or anything like that. For me, magic, I dabble in it only right now for the knowledge use. Granted, I use certain rituals every day, yet I do not practice as much as I really want to. I would like to say that it's not due to me being scared. It's more so of me being so indecisive on like where I really want to take this path down. I have my altar set up. That's like a daily ritual, but the real magic that I work with is just like via my ancestors, worshiping them, venerating them. And then I have gotten context and information from Chief. I will call you Chief Aga if that's okay with you.
It's all good.
I've gotten plenty of information from him. I've learned more about my spiritual parents from him. He's got a hell of a discography when it comes to magical tools. I also didn't forget about you, Marcus. I got those banishment rituals. I most like to dabble in. I looked at it, but I haven't really gone in depth. I like to use it, and it's sad that I haven't really dwelled deep into the magic. I think it's more so because of my action paralysis on where I want to take things with magic.
Okay. Well, when we first talked, I had just got into exploring magic primarily through the altar, and that's still about 90% of what I do is magic through altar work, programming my reality through the altar. So currently I have about four altars that I have at the time. And so through my astral travels and working with my teacher, I've found a lot of stuff that I really haven't had to come out of altar magic really to get the results that I want. My background though, I come from I would say a teaching tree. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with Mitchell Gibson or not. Dr. Mitchell. So Dr. Mitchell Gibson, if you go on his website, tybro.com, he's I would say he's like the OG master teacher.
No, you mentioned before.
Oh yeah, Master Gibson is incredible. So him, and then a few of his students is who I really tap into mostly. Brother Yosef, he's on YouTube as well, and then Indra Ali, he's on YouTube as well. So those are the people that I get my my roots of information from, and then over the course of the past 18 to 24 months, I've really been able to take all of that and have my own experiences with magic. But it's primarily altar work.
Okay. So by altar work, what do you mean? What are you doing? Veneration or?
So I have a altar that is for my ancestors. I believe that is definitely the foundation of magic. In my experience, I've learned that if you don't venerate the ancestors, a lot of the things that you could be owed, I'll say, some of the things that could be destined to come your way will be taken in by the ancestors, that ancestral energy, because they need energy as well in the realm that they exist. And so if you're not doing what you're supposed to do with them, you could be missing out on wealth. You could be missing out on blessings, all of that kind of stuff, because you have to make sure they're taken care of. Then I have a deity altar. There's a multitude of deities that I work with. It's definitely something that I try to tell my clients now, like, hey, look, I'm not sure what you've been used to before, but this is an energy that you have to form a relationship with. It's not like what you see on movies or television. Like, they don't come to your beck and call. You have to develop a relationship just with like anything else. And then I have a personal altar that I won't really go into heavy right now. And then, of course, the dragon year is coming. I just got finished with a presentation with a couple of my clients, putting up a dragon altar. So they, you tap into that dragon energy. So that's what I mean when I say like magic by way of altar.
Who is your favorite deity to like really, give energy and credence to?
Oh, okay, that's an easy one. If you follow me at all, Lord Ganesha is all on my page.
What's up with the Morse code you be sending us, man? I have no idea.
So it's actually I just put something up on my Gumroad about this. It's called effective prayer. And so I'm not sure what your prayer life is like for you, Marcus, or you, Nicco. But I know that there are two main blockages to effective prayer. One being your own conscious mind. Like if you're asking for something, or, which is really what prayer is, it's not begging, it's a request for something that is just outside of your reach, something miraculous. Because anything else you can pretty much manifest on your own, in my opinion. But you pray to deities or higher powers for things that are just outside of your reach. But if you're asking for something that your conscious mind doesn't believe can happen, it could put doubt and fear, even guilt into your prayers. And so getting back to what you were saying, by putting something out there in a different language, your subconscious mind knows what it means, but the conscious mind doesn't have any bearing on it. It can't put any negative energy on that request, if that makes any sense.
Sure, like barbarous names, just reciting a variety of those tend to get you on another like level of consciousness anyway.
Is it like mantras in a sense?
Let's see, mantras and prayers are two different things. I try to tell people that, like, so mantras are already they're already divine. When you think about the human body, and I know we're supposed to be talking about magic, so let me know if I'm going off track. I can ramble for days.
It's all good.
So, so when we're talking about mantras, mantras are already divine. They've been they're a form of technology. The human body is technology. So your voice is a form of technology. So when you're speaking certain things, you're basically tapping in to a code. So that's what a mantra is. You're speaking a divine code that is for a particular deity. So I put my mantra to Lord Ganesha on my page, either in using the Om, the actual English words or the Hindu words, or I use an Agam script, which is another ancient tongue. But anyway, so what you asked me, of course, Lord Ganesha, in my practice, the goal is to become an avatar or a vessel for a higher being, and my path is with Lord Ganesha.
Nice. Okay. Cool. And do you use the OM alphabet to like beyond using it on digitally? Do you use it like magically as like a talismanic magic, or just primarily on using it digitally?
So I misspoke. I have another altar that I have that is outside. So if you know anything about tapping into, giving away a secret here, if you know anything about tapping into the elementals, especially the earth ones, they prefer altars that are outside. And some of the things that I program my altar to do, there's practically no English on it at all. It's all written in Agama script. I also have a staff. I got finished doing a presentation on magical weaponry. I have a staff that I use that I am programming with Agam script as well as Hebrew, because it's a magical language actually. And it just happens to work better with nature magic.
Wait, what? It's Latin. Latin is what? What element
light.
Is it? It's light.
I believe it's light.
And then Hebrew is fire.
Fire. And then Swahili is water. And then I'm not sure what Agam is. I just know it comes from
ancient
the Druids.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Celtic language. It has a different derivative than, because generally the Celts used that alphabet, and they also used the runic alphabet because the Celts were actually Teutonic. The Celtic like continent was most of Europe, but they tended to use two different alphabets. One of them, alphabets. They tended to use either the OM alphabet that Chief's talking about, or they used runes, and that tends to be the ones that were off the British Isles.
Okay.
Okay. I love going back and forth with you. I love that, because most people, when I go this way, I get the glare. Like, oh, okay. And then we got to move to a different topic.
I knew to link you two up because we haven't really talked about magic in a while. We've talked about, the rituals that are happening on the outside of the world, but we don't really reinforce our own aside from just like prayer. And I believe that we all should use all types of our weapons and abilities to our what the fuck's the word I'm looking for? Y'all know
advantage.
Yeah, thank you. So it's so many different ways on protecting yourself and using different forms of tools to help yourself. What is one of your favorite tools, if you don't mind discussing? Is it language? Is it like using wands? Is it going to your altars? Is it working on mantras? Is it working with crystals?
I'm glad you asked that question, because in my opinion, as we go deeper into the fourth dimension, it's not going to be so much about using any external tools. It's not going to be about any herbs. It's not going to be about any wands, crystals, or anything like that. It's going to be a mystic vibe that is going to carry us forward. And so what that means is using things that, like I was talking about earlier, that is within the human body, your voice, your mind, your mudras, stuff like that. So I would say at this point in time, my favorite thing to use is probably my voice. So using sacred utterances, using different mantras, invocations, that's been, and the beautiful part about it is you don't have to carry anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's all in your head. You know it. You got the right vibration, the right energy. You can make it happen.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite tool right now is definitely my drum. A friend of mine gave me a new nice. Yeah, a friend of mine gave me a new cajon, and I've been playing that. And for those that don't know, it's a Cuban drum that basically it's kind of like a real big box, and it's got a bunch of different notes in the box. And so I've been that's kind of where my favorite, I guess, tool is right now, but that's largely because of what you're talking about. I come from a ceremonial magical background where you had 10,000 tools just to take a poop. They have a wand for just damn near everything. And so for me, it's been a bunch about simplifying, and I like the drum because it allows me to get into that deep space that you need to really get into like spirit work, while at the same time not needing a bunch of shit with you too. So I'm with you. In my older age, I'm simplifying down too. I'm good with a rattle or a drum, and I'm good. But I think that really, though, that's just another voice. I don't have a good singing voice. I wish I did. And so I found my voice with my hands, I guess.
I hear you. From the compliments that I get and the results, people tell me I have a therapeutic voice. So I've accepted that and do my best to heal people with the throat chakra, with the with the words and the vibrations.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So I have a tarot page, and
You said tarot?
Yeah, I have a tarot page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, actually, you follow me. I'm the wise weirdo. I haven't been posting videos. I've been kind of all over the place. Yet I was told that I have a soothing voice, and I'm like, no, my voice. Granted, I still have some shadow work. I find my voice annoying sometimes, so like it's not something that I would like to hear. But when I hear somebody like say, "Oh, hey, you have a soothing voice," I'm like, thank you. And then when I hear that, I'm like, well, why wouldn't I continue talking in that tone? Because if it's soothing, it's like running water, like running bath water over you, and you know. So I think after you said that, I'm most definitely going to start focusing on, using my voice as something that lulls people, and not necessarily a negativity with the word lull, but lull people. And when you have that soothing resonance to you, pains go away, aches go away. And sound is one of the biggest healers on this planet. We just haven't tapped into it.
Yeah, I would put it right under pure energy. I would put sound.
For sure.
Yeah, I definitely. There's a book that I recommend to people. Ted Andrews. I forget what it's called, but it's about sound. If you Google Ted Andrews and sound, is a blue cover. For anybody watching or listening, I definitely recommend it. It goes into like the history of it, the practical applications of it. And like I said, it's something you don't have to worry about dragging along with you.
Is it like the magical use?
I'm sorry?
I think sound or something like that. The magical use of sound. I think I may have read that.
It might. That sounds. Don't even get me to line. I got too many books. I never thought I'd say that, but I have so many. A friend of mine, that's what she says all the time. Is like, what are you doing with all of those books? And her and my goddaughter Gianna actually are the ones that's like making me simplify, because I'm like, if I can't streamline this and get a 9-year-old to understand it, I'm probably doing too much. You know what I mean?
Sure. So for me, one of the things, people talk about magic and they don't understand that really when we say magic, there's an awful lot that comes across with that. Like when I say magic, I am talking about the practice of magic, of like doing ritual or doing, some kind of magical ceremony, or maybe doing a spell or whatever. But I'm also talking, when I say magic, I'm also talking about like the energy of God, the energy behind what we call God, and some people are happy with just saying, okay, well, that's God, and I'm good with that too. But for me, I guess magic is God when God's being a verb, when when he's doing something.
Oh, you preaching right now.
Is that kind of your understanding too?
Yeah, I resonate with that. God is and the access to God is what I'm finding most people have an issue with. Because I think that the Creator, the Most High, is pretty much imperceivable at this dimension. Like, you're not really going to hear a voice in your head, if not from the Creator.
Sure.
But the energy of God is all around us, and is definitely a tool that you can use to elevate yourself to the point where you can eventually to perceive the Most High, the Creator. But let other people tell it, and they think they can just talk to the Most High like anything else, like we're talking. And I just don't agree.
Do you think that people, and I mean, granted, me asking you what people think, do you think a large amount of people in this day and age believe magic is the form of getting closer to God, opposed to the connection with them?
Okay, this is crazy that we're talking about this. So one of my teachers, Brother Joseph, he was talking about this, and he said, because with where we're going with technology, when you won't have to worry about food, water, being healed, shelter, anything like that, what will people pray for? Will they have a need for God? And so I think that what people perceive about God and magic is something that you just snap your fingers to take care of needs or desires or wants. Nobody's really tapping into God for the purpose that I think it was intended, which is evolution, to get back to God. That's what I think.
Yeah, what you're talking about is Hermeticism. It's the tradition. Crowley talked about that there are 3 different schools of magic. He called them the Black School, the White School, and the Yellow School. And
right.
In his mind, the Black School was there to lead people astray and take them to destructive ends, and the White School was for finding God and those kinds of endeavors. And he believed that the Yellow School was for kind of just the workings of creation, working with like what would be nature magic and those kinds of things. I think that largely my ideals tend to be of the White School, but my actions tend to be of more of the Yellow School, about kind of like Vishnu from the Hindu pantheon, more about sustaining rather than creating or destroying. But
interesting.
But I think that for me, Nicco, I think that often people don't even they don't even begin to understand what magic is. Like when Chief was talking about like using his altar, what he's doing is he's fixating at whatever his purpose is on that and using it as the stepping stone for a prayer, basically, kind of with the idea that he just came across. And tell me if I'm wrong, but this is my understanding of what you said, is that God as the totality, what in Kabbalistic terms we would call Kether, or the infinite all, if you will. That shit's ununderstandable. We can't get to that. We don't understand it. It doesn't understand us because it's so beyond our little understanding. So what we do is we try to understand, and those understandings come in the guise of what we would call gods or spirits, such as Ganesh, or for instance, from another pantheon. I'm going to go ahead and show this. This is similar idea.
Oh.
Legba, that's my image for the kind of energy that Ganesh has.
Absolutely.
And so what I do with those kinds of things is I use that as kind of like a stepping stone, because Legba is the messenger of the gods, and Ganesh fulfills a very similar role, where you ask them to carry your message, if you will.
It's hilarious that you say that. My girlfriend actually is somebody who Legba. She came through and she was like, the first thing I saw was Legba. And she's been drilling in my head, you need to talk to Legba before you talk to any spirits. And I'm like,
absolutely.
That's true. But like, I would talk to my ancestors and then attempt to try and talk to them. She's like, no, it has to be Legba first. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna argue with this. You don't try and get through the gates if you can't even get to the gates. So yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah. And that is the tradition in Voodoo, is that you speak to Legba first.
So what about if you weren't in a traditional like Voodoo or Ganesh? Where's Ganesh from?
He's from the Hindu pantheon. But if you study any of the pantheons, they all have a messenger gatekeeper entity.
Okay.
I think I was saying this not to cut you off, but I don't want to lose my thought because I definitely will. The gods were created by the humans because the energies. So here's what I've learned so far, and of course, chime in if you disagree.
So far, we're on the same page.
The Most High, the Creator, He created the angels and the demonics, and then the gods, because angels are stronger than gods. If you want to go into like power levels or whatever, just to like give an image. But the energies that we perceive, as our cultures change, we give it different definitions, but it's still the same core energy, which is why Thoth, Legba, Ganesha, Hermes, they're all the same being, but we have deified them with a certain characteristic, and they do have their own different personalities. Don't try to talk to Legba like you talk to Thoth or like you talk to Ganesha. You will get a check. You will get a gut check. So, but yeah, so when you're dealing with your ancestors, and this is a good point for anybody who's listening, your ancestors, they are part of you, but that energy stops at the fourth dimension. The gods, that is a divine energy. And so like if you're trying to mess with anybody or talk to anybody or develop a relationship with anybody in that particular pantheon, like you said, you need to go to the gatekeeper, and then everything will be blessed. There's multiple stories across all the pantheons where people try to go around the gatekeeper, and it doesn't go well because they didn't get that blessing.
Right. Okay. All
and
right,
the only exception I've ever heard in that is like, for instance, I have a special relationship with G'day, the god of death, dance, and sex in Voodoo, and I've got a special relationship with him, and he and I are kind of like buddies. So I won't always deal with Legba before dealing with him, but that's because he's a personal spirit for me. So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if somebody does, the only time where my experience has been that it isn't true that you need to work through the messengers, but just because they know what they're doing. It's not so much like, oh, they have this rulership over
or
whatever.
Hierarchy. It's not necessarily a hierarchy. It's about more so respects, right?
Well, it's kind of like if you want somebody to open you up and take out your kidney, you probably want to get a doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
Where Legba knows where the hell he's going, or Ganesh knows where the hell they're going. And Mars might be a really good guy to defend your house, but he doesn't know where the fuck you're going. so you can have him help you, but it's probably not going to be a good idea.
Let's not blind them. Okay.
Where my exception falls down is G'day knows me intimately. He knows who I am, what I'm doing, and where I'm going because he's my personal spirit. So G'day's got me handled, right? So he kind of knows the direction I'm going in. So the messenger god isn't as intense. Now, me myself, I work with Legba pretty extensively. but I wouldn't need to, because in that case, because if I'm working with G'day, I'm working with my own personal people. So the reason you would go to the messenger god is, yes, they're better at doing that, but of course they're better at doing that. They're the messenger god.
Well,
Right.
Aga, so with your go check out Aga's Gumroad. He's got plenty of books if you need any help. Yes, please. So speaking of the ancestor veneration, I have found out that my spiritual parents that I actually like kind of really rock with are Kronos, Samdi, who else is there?
Saturn energy.
Saturn, straight Saturn energy.
Okay.
And you've talked about going and working with it, but you not necessarily point out talking to the messenger. Now, for people who grab your Gumroad books, and they're not ignorant of it, but they're working with the energy, does it have any effect because of their ignorance, or is it something that you would kind of expect or hope them to follow suit and open their eyes about it?
That is an outstanding question, and I'm glad that we kind of talked about this in your personal relationship, because and from what I believe, in my experience, you have two beings, your spiritual parents, a masculine energy and a feminine energy that form your soul, put it in that body, and that's what you are. They give you your marching orders. I'll say it like that. Mm-hmm. And so because they're your personal spirit, like he was saying, you don't need to necessarily go through the messenger god, because these are your personal beings. These are your personal spirits. They're your spiritual parents. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So hopefully that answers your question.
So
go ahead.
So basically, it's like a biometric scanner code. It's already in my DNA. All I got to do is just press on it, and it opens up for me. And it's not something that I have to necessarily go outside of myself to really uplift or like enter to really experience.
Let me give you. Okay, this might lose some people.
Okay.
This what you are, what we are right now, is nothing but a hologram.
Right.
You are a projection of both of your spiritual parents. So once you accept that, so you can start talking to your spiritual parents right now. They hear you. Mm-hmm. But if you want to have a relationship with an outside deity, that's where I would say you need to honor ritual, honor protocol, and do those things. For example, like the Jade Emperor is another deity that I work with. Stickler for protocol, stickler for routine, stickler for the ritual. Mm-hmm. I would never start a ritual without doing everything that's required, going through the proper gateways to get to him. Mm. So that hopefully that answers your question.
No, that does.
There's personal spirits, like Marcus was saying, and there's maybe you want to work with another deity. I would definitely not try to step into their house by trying to crawl through the window. I'm going through the front door.
Right. Absolutely right.
I want an invitation.
Exactly. And they will let you know. Like you were saying, if you're dealing with a deity, they will let you know. I always recommend an altar to reach out. Mm-hmm. If you're working with a deity and you don't get no vibe, you don't get no dream visit, you don't get no sign out, that's saying like, hey, because they hear you.
Yeah.
They're not messing with you for whatever reason.
Okay, that makes sense.
And one of the things I want to put in there too is when he's talking about like, wait for an answer, wait for a fucking answer. This bullshit of I think I saw green yesterday, or I counted enough cars that were green.
11.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a problem with I'll say that with anybody is not understanding how much real time you need to put into the work. People light the candles and go up to them and pray and say, okay, my ancestors is coming. No, you have to spend hours, like sit down and give them that time, give them that energy and give them that essence, because you can't just say, oh, I lit the candle and, I prayed to y'all once. And then months later, you like, okay, where y'all at? It's the patience game. I would assume.
Well, I don't want to paint it with a broad brush like that, because there are certain lineage, and most of what I do with my clients, I'm dealing with someone who's like me, someone who's the only person who has that spiritual eye and ear and inclination. But there are families, and you'll see them, you'll recognize, you'll feel them, that their whole family does the work, and their access to deity and that part of life is completely different. So I don't want to. I run across some people. I used to live in San Antonio. Lots of
oh yeah, witches.
Man, what? Like I said I was saying on Twitter, I've seen some supposedly little old ladies that you don't want no parts of. Like that is not the energy you want to mess with. So I don't want to say that everybody has the same type of access or same type of issue or same type of thing to deal with. But I would say 70% of the people that I talk to on a daily basis, they need to give their ancestors time and energy, because if they were not spiritual in this lifetime, more than likely, two things are probably true. They don't know they're dead, or they're in some type of daze. They don't have the energy to give you any type of answer. They don't have the energy to give you any type of blessing or support. So just give them time and energy.
Okay, yeah.
And also understand that your responsibility to your ancestors goes well beyond a candle. You know,
for sure.
You know, when you're doing, yes, I light candles, I do a lot of that stuff, but it's about devotion. It's about, you know, when you're honoring your ancestor, you should be in that moment. You should be truly embracing whatever it is they do. You know, lots of people go through the motions of spirituality. If all it took was a little bit of prayer, the Muslims and Christians and the Jews have this shit down. If all it takes is just some people lighting some candles, then they got it handled. But it takes real devotion. It takes that time and the devotion to, like you're talking about, Nicco, to your ancestors to get there. It's not just, you know, one action. It is a real relationship, and you should be, if you're seeking to incorporate your ancestor energies into your life, this should be a daily practice. It should not be a weekly practice, and you should be seriously diving into that and making promises as well as fulfilling their needs.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that, because some people ask me like, hey, so how often should I give an offering? I'm like, do you eat every day? Like, and you eat every day too. So like, that's the answer to that. And it's about a relationship. And what I tell people mostly to get the ball rolling is that if they pair their genealogy with their ancestor work, you start to intimately know what their struggles were, what happened, because you're going to see death certificates, you're going to see marriage licenses, you're going to see these different things, and it's going to humanize these pictures that you have on your altar. You're going like, oh, I'm so thankful. And this is where it's more than just lighting a candle. You're going to feel like, man, I'm so thankful, because if you didn't do this, if you didn't experience this, I wouldn't be here.
Fact.
And because I know you had this vice, I know you went through this, I know my mission is to help get this out of my bloodline. You get what I'm saying?
Fact.
And so through the work with my clients and myself, I've seen people get rid of alcoholism. I've seen people get rid of the generational curse of being in poverty. I've seen people get rid of broken marriages and children out of wedlock, because they've taken the time to see what has happened, feel their ancestors, and then build upon that and correct it.
Amen, brother. And one of the things I also want to point out as you're talking, because I'm guessing we have a pretty strong, probably Christian following. One of the things I want people to understand when they're listening to all of this as well is that notice that there's devotion involved. Notice this is about being good to folks. We're not talking. This is a different spirituality, but it is a positive spirituality. It's a spirituality that is about embracing the good things in the universe and denying the bad things, trying to get those things to leave you the fuck alone. And I think that a lot of people miss that. But as Chief's been talking, you can hear it. You can hear he's like, okay, I want to help people. I've heard healing multiple times. Notice that these are all moving towards a positive end.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think I don't know because I share a lot of information. So
yes,
a friend of mine told me that she thought that I was on the left-hand path or that I was demonic, and I was like, when have I ever said that? Like I believe in learning about all parts of the occult, all parts of metaphysics, so I can better understand what's going on. But I am 100% on the side of the light and on the right-hand path. And so to speak to the Christian audience, like, I don't want you to have the impression that anything we're doing is demonic or antichrist or satanic. Like, I am taking care of, I'm my brother's keeper, and that's right out the Bible. I'm making sure the people who are not here, who don't have access to the energy that they need, can continue to evolve to that next level, to get back to source, to get back to God.
That's true.
Again, I just wanted to throw that in there because you're talking about very positive things and about and looking at it from a little bit different of a perspective, honoring our ancestors and those kinds of things. But so often people, and part of this is because people that have different faiths, whether they're pagan or they're some other magical shaman or whatever it is they are, often they people don't understand we're not a religion of the book. The reason that, like, for instance, one magician is going to be slightly different than another magician is because we don't have a guidebook. There's not like this book that we have. So we've ingested what information we can bring into our reality. But that doesn't mean that our religion isn't deep. It's just that we're not a religion of the book. We're a religion of following nature and finding God around us in the air we breathe. So that means that sometimes our beliefs are actually more complicated than somebody can just go, well, the Bible says it's here, or it says that, or whatever. But it's just another way of being, and it's just another way of finding God. Now, for myself, I like to find that part that unifies with, Christians and Jews and Muslims, and find that common ground. But that isn't always the case. But I just wanted people to understand that just because someone has a spirituality that isn't in a book, and I've read a billion books, and I'm sure that these people have as well. But we don't say, okay, this is the book that is the word of God that we're going on, and everything that's in it's true. We don't have that going on. We have to verify and validate all of the things we believe, which takes time, and that means that generally we're going to know those subjects pretty deeply. And I don't think that people understand that.
To piggyback back off of that, so when our first conversation, we talked about Christianity from a broader point of view because Chad was here, and no slander on it. And I say that only due to the fact that my grandmother is a living proof of how Christianity has magic behind it. It has like validity behind it, because she was praying for my uncle. He was supposed to be he was in the Iraq war or tour. He was on tour. He was one of the pilots, and she was praying and praying and praying and praying and consistently praying to the point where the helicopter he was supposed to be piloting, it actually crashed, and all of the people were on there died, but he was taken off. He was pulled for whatever reason, and I've just had like weird instances because my grandmother, even though she's Haitian, all she used is Christianity, like the Seventh-day Adventist, but she lives behind the Bible. She lives behind it, and I disliked what it did to people all around the world. I can't just say our people. I disliked how it was forced upon people, but I've recognized the power, and it's not necessarily to omit it, because it's also wasn't it an old African? It was previously held in Africa before it was used as a crusade, right? Wasn't Christianity? What was it? I think it was something you posted, Aga, or
out of Ethiopia.
Yeah, Ethiopia. It was out of Ethiopia.
I've heard people say that the oldest form of Christianity comes out of Ethiopia. There was a post that was going around, maybe, man, I've been on the internet a while, maybe like 10 years ago, where they found these super old Bibles that had a bunch of books in it that we never heard of. So I'm not surprised. But even the Bible that we have, man, if you because I had a phase where I was in that hoodoo Bible magic, man. I had a phase of that. Because you do. I got what's her name? Her name is Catherine. I forget her name, but if you look at hoodoo Bible magic, bottle me up, name paper in my shoe, I was all on that Bible magic, power of Psalms, all of that stuff, because there was a point in my walk where I was like, maybe I can, because my mother, she might be watching. My mother is Christian to the core. She is Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday night service. She is praying woman, and she has done amazing things, because there is some power there, and you also have to count in the power of the human spirit. But if you read the Bible, personally, I believe if you read the Bible, it's saying at least 7 different things. It just depends on what your eye is picking up. And so, like I said, if you go get the book Hoodoo Bible Magic or Power of Psalms or whatever, you'll see that some of that stuff was it's just coded. The power's there.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to address the Ethiopian stuff. One of the things I do, there's a bunch of people. I see Jabari said that they came first. I haven't seen proof that they came first, but what I have seen proof of is that they use a bigger Bible. The Ethiopian, a lot of the things that got taken out of the Bible that didn't make it into the canonized Bible did stay with the Ethiopians. They have the books of Moses. They have some of the Old Testament stuff. They also have many of what we would eventually find again in the Dead Sea Scrolls. They also have those. They also have some of the oldest churches on the planet. The Ethiopian church is very hermetic. They're very similar to what would eventually become the pseudo-Masonic magic.
So are you saying that some of the Masons' teachings has taken over some of the pseudo-Christian philosophies, or whatever you would want to call it?
Some of the Masonic symbols are directly Gnostic. Some of them are also Kabbalistic. The Masons are certainly using occult symbolism. Don't speak up the Masons, like, because they'll try to cancel you because I'm a Freemason, but like I don't understand why they get demonized other than people have watched so many YouTube videos.
Okay, well,
and they're not actually in the lodge. What you say?
Are you a part of the Prince? Well, I'm I was part of Chicago, and my girlfriend's cousin was a part of the Prince Hall version.
Prince Hall Freemason.
Are you? So you're a Prince Hall. There's actually I just moved and I saw the Freemasonry symbol on like one of the buildings, but it's not. And I'm trying to figure out, is that mean that I'm in a Freemason like founded town, or like there's just symbols that are up there?
You got to dig deep into that, but that's another thing that's people don't realize. Like if you're in an order down here, that means you're an order up there in a higher dimension. Like this stuff doesn't. So as above, so below doesn't stop just with the orders. So if you're in an order down here, you're in an order somewhere else. You just don't remember.
Okay.
So yes, the bottom line is the Freemasons are that's just a symbol set that a lot of people say, oh, they're evil and they're trying to control the world. It's just because they're the shitbags that are trying to control the world also use the same symbol.
They use it as a front.
They do sometimes use it as a front, but the symbols they're using, the majority of I guess the biggest overlap comes from the SRIA, which is the Society Rosicrucian Anglica, which is SRIA is one of the highest forms of Freemasonry, and the symbols that they used were basically stolen by the Golden Dawn, which the Golden Dawn is the fathers of modern occultism. So the symbols get brought over because of that connection, but they're just symbols. They're just being used however they're going to be used, whether it's to keep a secret so you don't know, who's in charge or not, or whatever.
Since we said that certain things consist of a certain resonance and like energy, would they be able to use the symbol for the opposite of what the symbol is necessarily used for?
Chief, you want to take that?
Say that one more time.
So basically, if there's like, for example, Brother Yosef dropped that medallion. Not the new one, but the first one that he dropped.
The medallion of the divine radiance. I got that one.
Yeah, it's over at my altar right now. So he said that symbols were taken over and used. Now, can certain symbols that are taken over or that were used positively, can they be taken and used negatively? Can they basically be reversed?
Not in my opinion. I don't think you could do that. I think a symbol has its base imprint, its base meaning. You can try. It's like when people try to take over derogatory words. Like it has a base meaning, and you can try to flip it. Maybe to a certain degree it does that, but it's gonna revert back to what it was intended to be used for. Like people try to use a pentagram for evil, and the pentagram is not for evil. So like that's why it's able to withstand all of these centuries of witch hunts, is because it's, first of all, you have a pentagram in your body. So how you would demonize that? I don't know. People just ignorant. But to answer your question, no, I don't believe that you can take something that was like look at and you look at the dead center of my my avatar. It's the helm of all. Like it's a protective symbol. There's no way you can use that to hurt anybody.
It's on my wall right now, or on my front door, and I got a place.
Very powerful symbol.
Yeah, and I agree that you can corrupt a symbol, but it's going to take a shit ton of work. And an example of that is the swastika. The swastika initially was just a sun symbol, but they have managed to get it in the cultural brain to be evil so much. But think of all the work they had to do to get that there. Is they had to, murder millions of people. They had to make it the backbone of a racist system.
You can't also forget that the race of history, them, recreating history and wiping it from the history books. But
even with that, look at how they still have to constantly retell I'm not gonna say it's a lie, but they have to keep telling that story to demonize that symbol. Because the symbol itself has its own living energy. Like it knows what it is. Right. So they're going to have to keep putting dirt on it, because eventually, like Marcus was saying, it is a sun symbol. It's a symbol of light. So what it is going to keep producing light. So what they have to keep doing is try to put dirt on it, put it in the shadow. But it's still, because of its original intent, divine origin, it's going to keep producing light.
That's a lot of work they got to put in, though. Like that's a serious amount of okay, well, I threw dirt on it and somehow its arm keeps popping back out. But like what Marcus was saying, they're trying to put it into the collective conscious or unconscious, but we're not here to save everybody. No, so if you know that it's a symbol of light, then just get busy with it. That's it. Right. Like let them think what they want to think.
Yep. So going forward, what Chief, what suggestions that if people are starting to get into magic and into an active spirituality, what would you suggest their first few steps need to be?
My first step will always be ancestor work, because I know personally, like I was saying at the beginning of this, even if you are allocated a certain amount of, we'll call it good karma, if your ancestors who are an extension of you are not taken care of, you're not going to reap the benefits of that stuff. And you're not going to heal the things that need to, because all of this, going back to this being a simulation, a hologram, all of this is for purification of your soul, growth of your soul. And because they exist in you on a quantum level, if you're not doing the work, starting with them, you're not going to grow as you should be growing, for one. And for two, I know a lot of deities will continue to ignore you until your ancestors are addressed. Like, how dare you talk to me when you have these spirits over here suffering? You know what I mean? You're going to give me offerings. I'm a god. I'm a divine being. I don't even need it. But you have ancestors here. So either is ignorance or is willful neglect. But I do know that a lot of deities will ignore you until your ancestors are taken care of. So I definitely start with ancestor work. And then finding a system of evolution, which is, for me, I'm building a light body. So sun gazing, candle gazing, solar mudras, different things like that. I focus on something that is going to evolve your soul, not just I sit and meditate, or I work with crystals. Like, what are you doing to actively add light to your soul, like grow your consciousness? So those two things I say. Oh, number three, sorry. The number three thing I would say you got to do, once you become a player in this game, like once you become conscious, you got to start protecting yourself, because there's beings that like see that you have woken up, and they're going to do anything to shake and rattle you to put you back to sleep. So do your spiritual baths, wear your protective medallions, do something to cleanse your space and keep your energy high. That's what I recommend.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank.
Shameless plug.
Me?
So, yeah, I think he wants to.
Yeah, shameless plug, man. Come on. I need everybody to know my teacher.
I'm honored. I'm honored that people even think of me in that way. Well, I'm on Twitter, of course. You can find me. I'll drop my link in the chat. But it's Chief Agatanahi Uktena. It's the same way it's spelled in my picture. And then if you go there, you can find my Gumroad. And I have up to date probably about 50 different products that, because I don't put it just on the gods. Like, if you want to evolve with the fairies, you want to evolve with the, with different elementals, you want to, whatever it is you want to do. I definitely recommend, and of course the ancestor work, but I definitely recommend coming over to check out what I have, because I have something for pretty much everybody. And I feel like being the avatar for a messenger of knowledge and wisdom, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do by giving every type of evolution course there is, you know what I mean, that's at least accessible for the common person. So Twitter and Gumroad, that's where you can find me.
Awesome, man. Send me those links as well, and I'll put them in the regular notes.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Gratitude.
And thank you very much for joining us. This has been a good discussion. Hopefully everybody learns something, and we'll have more going down the road. I want to thank Nicco for kind of setting this one up and getting the ball rolling on it.
I apologize for the CPT time, people. Well, we're here, right? Huh?
For sure. Well, this has been fun, and it has been another good one. Thanks again, Chief, for joining us, and we'll see all y'all. Oh, you're very welcome, and you're always welcome. Let us know when you want to come back on again. And you guys stay free out there. I'm not as good at hitting these buttons as Chad is, but here we go. Stay free.